Hello everybody and welcome back to the E3 roundup. We are on the last day. As we said in the last video, we're just going to dive right in there with the last of the press conferences. That is Sony's press conference. Kind of want to do this one pretty quick, you know, it's been a long E3, getting kind of tired. Luckily, we're on the last two E3 videos, then I can actually get back to normal content, so we're just kind of going to go over this really quickly at this point. I mean, there was still some good stuff. We had a few bad things. I'm just going to kind of jump around in this pile because I just kind of threw all of the books or games, whatever you'd like to call them, in here for the last press conference. So we've got Resident Evil 7. I already played the Resident Evil 7 demo on my channel. If you'd like to hear a full in-depth 11-minute ramble about what I thought of Resident Evil 7, then go watch that, but it's not that good. It really isn't. It's really not that good, but there is a full video on that if you want to see that. So I'm not going to go over that again because I'm sure some of you have probably already seen the Resident Evil 7 demo and you already know my thoughts on it. So we'll just skip over that one. PlayStation VR, most of PlayStation's entire press conference, like a good quarter, probably even a good third of Sony's press conference was showing off nothing but PlayStation VR, and they really wanted to force the fact that they're bringing out their own VR device. We will go over this tomorrow on VR as a whole because it's VR as a whole needs a discussion just before we wrap up E3 tomorrow, because we will be doing the VR video and my final thoughts of this year's E3. So VR, let me just say, it wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything worth showing off all that much really, but we'll cover it more in VR as a whole. So I'm just going to skip that entire section right there. Final Fantasy 15 VR, we'll come back to that. SpiderMan, again, it's a Spider-Man game. I'm not into Marvel. This could be good. It looks good, don't get me wrong. It looks almost like Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2, like how you swing correctly and like you throw the webs one forward, one forward. It looks okay. Again, I'm not a fan of Spider-Man, so I can't comment on that one myself. I don't play many Marvel games, so I'll just skim over that one. Days Gone, I'll come back to Days Gone because that's a big one. The Last Guardian, finally got a release date for it. Still looks amazing. I feel like I'm doing this every E3. I've done this for 3 E3s in a row. I did it in 2014, I did it last year, and now I'm doing it again this year. Just release it! Because it's had like 14 years of delays. 14! You know, it's almost as bad as Duke Nukem Forever, so I'm just going to be repeating myself at this point. I've already said it looks great. The soundtrack sounds great. The game looks like the gameplay itself looks amazing. I'd just be repeating myself again. So I'm not going to go over The Last Guardian for a third time. I can't be bothered to go over it for a third time. And as for that release date, I'll believe it when I actually have the thing in my hands. But quick synopsis of The Last Guardian. Look, still looks great. Still want to play it. Please just release it because I'm sick of talking about it every E3. What else have we got? We have got all the good stuff. We have got all the good stuff except for these. So we have Lego Star Wars 7. It's another Lego. It's just another Lego game. You know, Lego always tries to bring a bit of humour to the movie that it's parodying, like when it parodied the Indiana Jones trilogy. And it's great for the kids, I guess. Like, I'm not a kid anymore. It's great for the kids, but it's just another Lego game at this point. They're kind of becoming a dime a dozen after Lego bought the rights to make every movie or thing ever. There's like Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Adventures, Lego Dimensions, Lego Marvel. There's Lego DC, Lego Batman. There's Lego everything now, so Lego games, they're just becoming a dime a dozen. But still, it looks alright, so there we go. What else have we got? We have had a trailer. Wasn't really anything in it, but we had a trailer of Death Stranding, which is kind of like I can't really describe what it was like. I mean, it's by Hideo Kojima, so good job, Kojima. You got out of Konami. Hashtag fuck Konami. So good job for getting out of there, Kojima. I know you're going to do so well on your own. You're gonna show Konami that you don't need those stupid wankers. You're gonna do great on your own. So that's good to see him out and making his own company. Death Stranding itself, we didn't really get much of a trailer. We didn't get much of anything. Like, we got no gameplay. It was all a pre-rendered trailer. And it was like some sort of crazy acid trip made by H.R. Geiger. Like, we had a baby that was attached to a man via a metallic umbilical cord, and he had a handcuff on, and like he hugged the baby and cried, and then the baby turned to black goo, and there was some crazy high priest SpiderMan floating in the sky above him doing Jesus poses. What? Oh, and then there was a beach full of dead fish. Just yeah, it was kind of like Darkseid, you know, that game in the 90s that everybody laughed at. It's kind of like Darkseid but serious, and it's just like, oh, H.R. Geiger's give me some mad acid. I'm seeing it all. I'm seeing all of it. I've got a deformed baby attached to a metal umbilical cord coming out of my chest. I'm seeing sexualized xenomorphs. I'm on a mad acid trip. So can't wait to actually see what the hell that becomes. Once again, Kojima, because, you know, let's be fair, he's writing in Metal Gear Solid with Psycho Mantis and all of the other crazy crap, like how his brother lives on in some guy's possessed arm. Hideo Kojima's pretty off his head when it comes to writing, and he was like tied down by Konami at that point. Now his creativity knows no bounds. Now he can write whatever he wants. And if he wrote an off-his-head story for Metal Gear Solid, God help us all when he writes an off-his-head own original story. So, really excited to see what the hell Death Stranding is going to be turned into, or just what it is. I don't know what it was. Like, it was mental. So that's that. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare got showed off again. I'll admit it did look a little bit better than the Infinite Warfare trailer, which was a bit misleading, but still looks like Star Wars, still flying around in space shooting ships as if it's just some bootleg version of Star Wars. Still the same dull, brown, grey military shooter that absolutely no one cares about at this point because it's been done to death, and the world is moving away from dull, grey, brown shooters, and still hawking that shit of, you got to buy Infinite Warfare in order to get Modern Warfare remastered. So they're still being scummy with that. So everybody, like, when they said that they were still doing that, even though with all the dislikes they got, even with all the backlash they got, they're still doing the Modern Warfare thing. And obviously when that was showed, people were none too pleased about that. So that's the thing. So what have we got left? We've got the good game. Well, we've got 2 good games left and a couple of but first let's go over the one last maybe, which is Detroit. It's you'll play as a robot detective man, and you can make different choices with different scenarios. Kind of looks like a split path of LA Noire. Like LA Noire, you could ask different questions. How can I put this? Because you could ask a question and then the guy could be lying. But, like, you ask different questions, but in the end you get the same outcome. Like, regardless of what questions you ask, the story still had to contrive a reason for you to carry on, even if you screwed up. So, that's it. It was just linear. Even though it looked like multiple questions, it was still linear. But in Detroit, it's not like you can just choose to kill the man, kill the child, kill yourself, reason with the man. Apparently it's got like hundreds of different endings to these different scenarios, so it looks like LA, it's probably just LA Noire 2. They've just called it something different, because rather than taking place in like gangster 1930s America, it now takes place in the future with androids. I didn't really like LA Noire, so this one hasn't won me over. But I'd still be inclined to look at a Let's Play of it to see what it was like and then maybe consider a purchase. So, doesn't look too bad, but I'm on the fence about that one. However, let's move on to the big ones, the ones that you all want to hear about, because they were the cool ones, except for Days Gone, which was just another zombie game. Like, I don't know why I left that one in there. This is their new IP, and everybody thought it was going to be like The Last of Us 2. Ha 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 ha. Oh yes, please give me The Last of Us 2. I would totally like to play your movie video game experience, where me, David Cage, directs it and talks about all of the emotions of the little girl, and completely fails to see what a fucking cordyceps is, because a cordyceps is not a zombie infected by mushrooms. That's not how a fucking cordyceps works, David Cage. But whatever. And also, just before we go, I'd like to point out, Mr. David Cage, I come up with the cordyceps idea before you, alright? I made Nameless here before you. I made the whole mushroom zombie thing before you, and I got it right, because they don't attack people. They are fully under the control of the mushroom, and I saw it from the David Attenborough nature documentary, whereas you watched it in some sort of sci-fi movie and completely failed to understand how the cordyceps works. God damn it, David Cage. But I wanted to make an emotional movie video game experience. And before everybody says it in the comments, yes, I know David Cage didn't make it, but he directed it. He directed those very emotional scenes. I mean, you were so emotionally attached to the little girl. Like when you saved that little girl's life, the man, he felt so emotional for saving the little girl's life. So, even though, yes, I know that he didn't make it, he still had a hand in it. And by the way, The Last of Us was shit. It was just another zombie game, no matter which way you want to dress it up. And this is the same, like, hordes of zombies come at you, you know, in that ending cutscene. Hordes of zombies come at you, and you're trying to fight them all off, and oh, good. Well, it's still nice to see that a HD version of Unit Z is coming to the PlayStation 4, so that's that out of the way. So yeah, I can't care for it. But then, we get into the big four. The four that everybody loves. Well, one of them maybe. But the big three that everybody loves. Everybody's excited. Oh my days, it's happening finally. The first one, God of War 4. And even though it won't call God of War 4, I'm going to continue to call it God of War 4. Because it is a sequel to God of War 3. Kratos is old. He's got a beard. He has learned to suppress his anger. He's teaching a child like a mentor. It's God of War 4, even if they are reluctant to put a 4 in the title. But regardless of the title, it looks amazing. Like, it looks visually beautiful when it all starts up, and when they kill the deer and you get like the nice shot of the expansive landscape. Visually, lovely, lovely winter wonderland. In terms of the actual in-game graphics, because we get to see them like walking down this linear pathway, stabbing monsters, killing monsters, and just generally talking as the little child is taught to hunt for the first time. So in-game graphics, when it's not in cutscene, again, still look absolutely amazing, beautiful, very well creative, or very well designed, whatever you would like to call it. As for the gameplay, still God of War, still great, you know. You are Kratos, you are an evil, murdering, horrible, horrible man, and rather than your blades of Athena to start off with, you've got a huntsman's axe, but then he enchants his huntsman's axe with some sort of magic rune spell. The huntsman's axe glows blue, and then he starts kicking the ever-loving crap out of everybody. So, God of War gameplay, it's pretty much like God of War. You are an invincible tyrant that's just going to paste everybody up and down the corridors. I don't know how the child will fit in. I imagine the child is going to get kidnapped in some way, which is going to unleash his anger once more, and we're going to get another 6 hours of being an overpowered badass that's just going to murder everything in his way. So, very excited for God of War 4. That one looks really, really great. I've played all of the others. Good stuff right there. What's next? I want to leave Crash Bandicoot to last. Horizon Zero Dawn, we got more gameplay, we got more story, we got a release date, which is next year. It's, I can't remember if it said February next year or March next year. Did get a release date though, so it's coming out the first part of next year, first quarter of next year, so still excited. I covered this last year's E3 at how hyped I was. I covered this in the trailer that they brung out just before E3 started. Again, very excited, so I don't need to go over my excitement or my feelings there. All I need to go over in this Sony press conference is the demo they showed off. They had a lovely demo. You were the girl, and it showed you things like firing the bow at these crab things, and when the shell fell off, you got to raid the crab thing for loot. Then we saw her killing another robot and getting like wires and things out of them to make like mines and stuff. So there is a collecting and crafting element to Horizon Zero Dawn that we never saw before. That's interesting. Love the grapple mechanic where she like fires the wires and plants them into the ground so it chains down the robot so it can't move. And we got a little bit more backstory that, you know, humanity left and took the light with them, you know, our technology, and then robots took over the earth. But there's something amiss because the robots are becoming more violent, you know, like even the deers are becoming more violent, and it's to do with true machines, like proper Matrix evil squiddy machines, and they have been upgraded to have corruption or darkness or evil bad diesel fuel in them, and we get to fight a corrupted enemy. We get to see a boss fight with a corrupted enemy where you can only hit a certain spot, and obviously it looks very different from all the others. And she says, you know, her and the other villagers say that the corruption is indeed spreading, and soon humanity will fall to the machines and we'll all be put inside a giant computer, and Agent Smith will try and take over the world. So that's a thing right there. But, you know, from all the new features we saw, like the collecting and crafting element, very interesting. The grappling hook to chain monsters down. Like, she even chained a boss down. Now, I don't know if that's a full-on, you know, I can't think of a giant robot from the Matrix. The harvester that harvests the little fetus eggs. You know, I'm not saying that that's a full-on giant boss like a harvester, but that's still a mini-boss, you know. That's still on the level of a squiddy or something. That's still quite big, quite a, you know, potentially a mini-boss. I don't want to call it a full boss, but it could be. And if you can, like, chain bosses down, like, if you can chain the full-on bosses down to stop bosses from moving while you get a bit of extra damage off on them. Obviously, I imagine, like, the bosses can break those chains, you know, maybe regular enemies can't, but you could chain a boss down, hit it a few times, and it'll just rip all the chains out of the ground. Well, if you can, like, chain the bosses down, that's going to be very overpowered or very broken, I think, because technically, couldn't you chain it down, hit it a few times, run away while it goes into rage mode, then chain it down again? Unless, again, that is a mini-boss, but we'll have to see on that. Still, just the fact that there is potential to kill bosses in a certain way, like imply strategy in killing bosses, look forward to it. Look very, very forward to that. And then we move on to the controversial two. Final Fantasy 15 VR. Oh my god, that trailer. That fucking trailer! Oh! Damn it! It was so bad. It was so bad. Like, we already had the badness at the Microsoft press conference where they showed off the Attack on Titan demo where the 4 members of One Direction were attacking this Titan, and it was like the most blandest boss fight ever, when, you know, where it hit the ground, swiped its arm across, hit the ground, swipe its arm across. It was already looking bad. And like this VR thing just cemented that. Like, oh Christ. So we play as a boy band, and it looks nothing like Final Fantasy. It's got this stupid battle system. Like, I thought they couldn't get any worse than Lightning Returns. We got to get an actual full look at the battle system this time, rather than Microsoft's little demo. I didn't think it could get any worse than Lightning Returns battle system. I really didn't think it could get any worse than Lightning Returns battle system. It's putting me... I'm yawning. It's putting me to sleep. It was that bad. Oh, Jesus. So yeah, the battle system is screwed. It has some stupid active time battle system, and it tries to mix RPG elements into an active time battle system. What? And you don't get to control all 4 members of your party. Like, even in Final Fantasy 13, even if it was nothing but pressing auto attack, you still had the choice to control your party members. But it seems like you're running around as a singular person, and all the others are doing their own thing in the background. Like, you can't even control your party. And if you can, it wasn't very clear, so they screwed it up even worse than Lightning Returns. I don't know how you screw up worse than Lightning Returns. Like, at this point, Lightning's an icon. Like, Lightning's a mascot. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Lightning any day. I'd love to sit down on Grand Pulse and have a picnic with Lightning any day of the week, rather than bloody One Direction here. And then they had the goal. And after that, obviously, so that was the gameplay that we got to see, which was terrible. But then they have the goal to like make the cutscenes to where One Direction are wearing the VR headsets, and like it goes into first person mode, so you're throwing like the fireball at the Titan, and it's like, why not just show off Final Fantasy VII? Why? I would be more excited to see Genova's sweet ass than this garbage. Because at least with Genova, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting an alien girl in a tank, not this. I don't know what I'm saying. It kills me every time. Final Fantasy. Every time they bring out a new Final Fantasy, it seems to just get worse and worse and worse. Like 13, nothing but auto attacks, pretty bad. 13-2, you had to use Pokemon with Lightning's sister. Even worse than the auto attack. Lightning 3 or Final Fantasy 13 3 Lightning Returns, you had to use Lightning's costume thing while on a 3-day or a 13-day time limit to the end of the world, which it was even worse. Then 14 came out, and I don't know, because I know 14's had a lot of patches and a lot of expansion packs, but Vanilla 14 was so bad that they had to send apology letters they had to email out apologies to the fans that the launch of 14 was that bad, and it was. And that's why like a lot of my friends that play online games like World of Warcraft are like, no, I'm never touching 14 again. And it's like, right, 13 was bad, 13-2 was worse, 13-3 was abysmal, 14, you had to apologise for. You can't screw it up anymore on 15. We're already at the bottom of the barrel, tunneling our way to hell. We can't get any worse. Surely, with Bravely Default and Bravely Second selling like hotcakes, everybody wanting a remake of Final Fantasy VII, surely you would have learned your lesson. Nope, they didn't. They just put in an active time battle system, screwed it all up. So that's more on Final Fantasy 15. That's just, oh Jesus. But there we go. We can't trust Square Enix anymore. Like, we can't even trust them with Final Fantasy 7. I know Final Fantasy 7 wasn't shown, but we can't even trust them with Final Fantasy 7. First of all, they don't make it turn-based, even though everybody wanted it turn-based. And secondly, they're making it episodic. Which is absolutely stupid. It's the most stupidest idea in the world. And I've had people argue the episodic thing for Final Fantasy VII. And you know what? I can take some of them arguments, okay? I can take some of them arguments that they want to tell a more in-depth story. And you know what? If they make a more in-depth story for Final Fantasy VII, I'll concede. I will realistically and legitimately concede. Like, okay, so if you're going to make the entire game, let's say it was 3 discs on the PS1, you had like the diamond weapons, Sephiroth. I'm just trying to think of like how long the game would be, because it was 3 discs. It was like, what, 50 hours? Like, maybe a little bit more if you're going for everything, like 70 hours. So if we say Final Fantasy VII was 70 hours, if they make 70 hours then extra story on top of that, yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's make a 100-hour game. So what I'd like to see, this is an example, okay? This is an example of, if they're making it episodic, this is how they've got to do it. And I know we've gone completely off topic, but I just need to say, you play through the game, okay, so it's just the entire game, right? But at certain sections, you get to play things that weren't released, and we get to see things that weren't seen. So, for example, we'll take 2 scenarios from the Mako reactor where Jenova is. So, the Mako reactor is obviously one of the most famous scenes where Jenova is revealed for the first time, but it's also where Last Orders happens. And Last Orders is an anime where Cloud has kind of like gone nuts because he's just had Jenova's cells put in him, and it's where he stabs Sephiroth and, you know, all like that. And it was just kind of incorporated into Final Fantasy VII. Like, it was 1 miniature cutscene rather than a 30-minute section, and, you know, they revisited it in Crisis Core. But if you're going to make Final Fantasy VII episodic, what I think you need to do is you need to make the Mako reactor, like that flashback with Sephiroth where you play as Zack or whatever, it needs to be playable. You need to have a full episode dedicated to the turmoil of the Mako reactor. And then, like, Jenova, she's the most important character, and this is something that everybody skims over. You've got all the fanboys and fangirls that are like, oh, Cloud Senpai, I love you, Cloud Senpai, Sephiroth Senpai, I love you, Sephiroth Senpai. And, you know, even in Kingdom Hearts, oh god, don't start that again, Spyro, from your Kingdom Hearts video. But even in Kingdom Hearts, they just focus on Cloud and Sephiroth being like these 2 ultimate badasses that can beat each other and have got infinite power, forgetting to mention that the only reason they've got that power is because they've got Jenova's DNA inside them. Like, they would be nothing without Jenova. And the story, you know, the Final Fantasy VII universe as a whole wouldn't be anything without Jenova. You know, Jenova was the one that came to Earth in the meteor. Jenova was the one that was the calamity that fell from the sky. Jenova was the one that was thought to be an ancient, and they were trying to use ancient DNA to make a super soldier, but Jenova wasn't an ancient, Aerith was. So, and then obviously, like, most of the characters, Sephiroth, Cloud, Zack, you know, members of Soldier, Vincent, they all had Jenova's cells put in them. Like, the entire Final Fantasy VII wouldn't exist without Jenova. But we know nothing about her. Like, we know that she's an alien. We know she came to Earth on a meteor. And that's about it. And, you know, in Dredge of Cerberus, we get one that I don't know. I don't even know if it got put in the game, but I've seen it on, like, Did You Know Gaming. It isn't Did You Know Gaming. It was someone that goes more in depth to the Final Fantasy universe. But I think there was one line where Jenova actually speaks, and it kind of hints that she was part of, like, the Time Lord's Doctor Who universe. Because, you know, like, how there's this big star planet, and again, I don't want to go into this too much, but there's, like, this big star system, and there's, like, Gallifrey of the Time Lords, and Skaro with the Daleks. There was, like, apparently a 3rd planet where all this technology was, like, developed and stuff, and it was called Arcadia. And Arcadia, Archangel. So it's like this planet full of angel people. And, you know, Sephiroth, one-winged angel, and Jenova has those red crystallized wings. So people thought, oh, she's an Arcadian. I mean, that's the only line we got, and Doctor Who completely screwed the idea of Arcadia over. Thank you, Stephen Davis. Get the hell off my show. You don't know what you're doing. Like, oh, you screwed up Peter Capaldi so much. But yeah, so we had a hint of what she was and where she came from, but that was it. That's all we got. And, you know, if we were to take the Doctor Who thing as canon that she is an Arcadian, they are humans with angel wings. They look kind of like Sephiroth. So why is she blue? Why is she mutated? Did she mutate herself? Did the crash from the meteor mutate her? You know, we know nothing about Jenova. So if we're going to do Final Fantasy VII episodic, I want the full 70-hour game, but I want extra, okay? Make your 70-hour game, but add extra bits, like add an entire episode devoted to Jenova. Tell us who she is. Tell us her backstory. Like, before Sephiroth kills her, have Hojo, like, talk to her and have her tell Hojo where she came from. Like, do something extra. And that's my rant on, I know we went a bit off topic there, but that's my rant on Square Enix constantly screwing things up. Like, you've completely screwed Final Fantasy 15 over with this VR bollocks and just everything. So, and you're about to screw Final Fantasy 7 over. But if you are going to screw it over and make it episodic, full game plus extra episodes like Genova's backstory, please. So that's that one out the way. That's probably like the most passionate one, and everybody's now going to be thinking I am a creepy dragon. Like, oh my god, you love Jenova. You've just like talked about her for 20 minutes, and you're like, you want to get in the tank with that thing? You want to kiss her? Well, you know, maybe. I mean, she looks pretty in terms of the face. Like, she has a very pretty face and that long silver flowing hair. So maybe if she wasn't mutated, maybe if she was just like fully restored normal Arcadian, she might look very pretty. She might look like Tifa or Aerith pretty. I don't know. But in terms of face and hair, very pretty. It's just all of the, you know, it's just all of the crystallized wings and like the pipe coming out of her stomach that might turn people off a little bit. Well, there we go. Let's move on to Crash Bandicoot before this goes into a very dark place that we don't want to go to. Crash Bandicoot. Oh my god, Crash Bandicoot. This one. Yes! 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 They did it! And then he screwed it up, but they did it. But they screwed it up, but they did it. So, they come out on stage. You've got all of Insanity Beach in the background. A remix of the original Insanity song playing, you know. Do, 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 do. Everybody cheering the roof off. Hyped as hell. And he says, we've made a deal with Activision. Okay. That sounds bad, but you're playing the original music, and we have struck this deal, and soon, I mean, they didn't give a release date, we are going to be remaking Crash 1, 2, and Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped in full HD. We are building them from the ground up in full HD remastered. You blew the roof off that place. Sony press conference, cheers across the board. You blew the roof off the second you said that. Good shit. Everybody loved it. Then you said Crash was going to be in Skylanders. Then we saw the Skylanders design and it looked abysmal. It looked absolutely terrible. Oh. Oh. However, people are not mad. People are not mad whatsoever. I'm mad. I'm very mad. I'm very angry that Crash is in Skylanders. Like myself, when, like my third incarnation, Skyro looks shit. Skyro does not look like my original 2 or my 4th. Skyro is, you know, as much as I don't want him to be part of me, he is. Like, Skyro is still my third incarnation. I accept Skyro, but I don't like that I have to accept Skyro, because he's kind of the oddball out of us four. He's kind of the oddball out of what we look like, what all of us look like. So, I don't like him, but I accept him. But I refuse to... I will still forever call him Skyro. I will forever call my third incarnation Skyro. And now we've got... well, Skyro, Spyro. We've changed one letter. I don't know how to say Sky Crash. Scrash? Is that what we're going to call him? Scrash? Because, like Spyro... Crash looks horrible in the Skylands. Like, they just took his design and kicked you in the balls with that. But it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Like, Skyro, there wasn't a Spyro game in ages. We got teased about Spyro's Kingdom, then we got that. Lots of hatred. Crash Bandicoot. We have been promised HD remakes of Crash 1, 2 and 3. Then you showed us that. We're annoyed he's in Skylands, very annoyed that he's in Skylands, but you've promised us original Crash in his original designs in HD remakes of the first 3, and hinted that if the first 3 HD trilogy sells, there's going to be more Crash coming, and it's like, oh, yes, and it sets the potential bar. You know, you've made a deal with Activision for Crash, and if Crash does well, you know, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. But Activision, if you're listening, I hate you. I dislike you. All right, you completely fucked up my third incarnation. Not pleased. However, Activision, if you want me to like you, if you want me to sing your name to the heavens, don't just make Crash HD remake. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to put these images on screen, Activision. You know, they're fan-made, but even if they're fan-made, you can still use them. You can do it. Go on. Just do it, Activision. Do it for me. Fucking do it! Just do it! Just do it! Please. So, that's my plea to Activision, that if Crash is doing it, if everybody cheered the roof off for the Crash remakes, you know what to do. If you don't want people to hate you for putting Crash in Skylands and hate you even more for what you did to Spyro and turn me into Skyro, you know how to appease those. You know how to appease all my Spyro fans. You know how to appease all the fans. All you gotta say is the magic words, Spyro HD Trilogy Remake. Say those magic 4 words. Say them right now on Twitter. I'm actually going to tweet this to you, Activision. I'm going to tweet this to you right now. Say Spyro HD Trilogy Remake. And watch the love. Watch all of the love and positivity flow into you. So, please do it. Please. So we're going to go to the final verdict of PlayStation. Oh my god, it's freezing. So, Sony showed us some pretty good stuff, especially Crash, yes! Crash Bandicoot, yes! So, but there was still a bit of nonsense, but it was an okay conference, 3 out of 5. Good chest, I think you know what gets in there. Crash Bandicoot definitely gets in the good chest. Horizon Zero Dawn, very good, definitely there. God of War, right in that good chest. Days Gone, Detroit, all these are kind of maybes. So, and The Last Guardian could be a maybe as well, because I'm not going to say it till I get that thing in my hands, because for all I know it's going to get delayed again. So, Last Guardian maybe, SpiderMan could be okay, PlayStation VR is bad, Final Fantasy 15 is bad, Days Gone is just another zombie game, that's bad. Detroit, we've only got 2 spaces left, Infinite Warfare is bad. Death Stranding could be good. Lego Star Wars, it's just another fucking Lego game, isn't it? And Resident Evil's bad. So there you go. Death Stranding, blah blah blah. Hideo Kojima's game could be good, but I need to see it. Detroit, actually, you know what? Lego Star Wars is probably alright, but Detroit's just an LA Noire clone, really, and LA Noire was pretty bad. So let's just be honest with it. It's Lego Star Wars gets in the maybe. And then the other 6 go into the bad chest because, you know, who the hell wants to play Infinite Warfare or Days Gone because it's just another bloody zombie game. Oh, and One Direction 15. Where'd that go? There it is, Final Fantasy 15 VR, so that's those 2. So we didn't quite fill up the bad chest. We filled up the maybe chest, and we almost filled up the good chest bar 3. So pretty even split. Bad chest, good chest, even split there. But we'll talk about that on the round on the cooldown. Well, for now, thank you all for watching this last press conference of E3. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Tell me what you liked about Sony's press conference. Were you excited for God of War, Crash, Call of Duty, although I don't see why? What was your favourite part of the Sony press conference? What are you most excited for from the Sony press conference? Myself, Horizon Zero Dawn, Crash Bandicoot. Yes, give them to me now. And, you know, that's about it. Maybe God of War 4, but that seems very early in development, so I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, myself, I'm hyped for Zero Dawn, Crash Bandicoot, God of War 4. Let me know what you were hyped for. And, of course, if you don't want to miss out on the last of the E3 content and all the new content that's going to come, please feel free to subscribe. But for now, we have one final E3 video to do, and that's Paper Mario Color Splash. So, thank you for watching, and I will see all of you in the very last E3 video of this year.